Hello friends, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Vanakkam, Sat Sri Akal, Kamanachi, Kemcho, Majama. Today I'm coming back again with my second content to let you know that today where we are in today's situation. Now we all must have heard in the last few hours, both Trump and Iran have reached a ceasefire. So how is this going to affect going forward? I think it's good news for the entire global economy. But again, we have to wait and watch what's going to transpire in the next few days. Now, today's main topic, I was just trying to think, all of us maybe must be looking from a different angle. In 2026, we never expected this war to come up. But yes, there are two dilemmas if you see. This is the oil war, and you have second the AI-driven economy. So are we heading into a global recession? Even I'm not sure. But yes, in today's context, I just want to brief what we had seen earlier this year. We all know February 28th, 2026, this war started. And as I'm just going to give you a brief, an understanding how this war escalated, and it started affecting our day-to-day cost, everything. So as I mentioned in my yesterday's video, the Strait of Hormuz, which is a key oil passage for oil as well as your gas. Most of the oil producing countries like Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Iran, they all pass through Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the entire global oil passes through that strait. All these countries are located in the Persian Gulf, and when they come towards Iran or when they come towards Oman, they exit out of Oman. That area is called, that Strait of Hormuz. So it has to pass through that strait, and then it supplies to Asia, it supplies to Europe, etc. So if you see, Europe and Asia, we heavily dependent on oil as well as gas. I know US also produces shale oil, but yes, they have their own usage and different kinds of applications where different business entities they purchase. So Strait of Hormuz produces almost, I would say the oil producing countries, they almost ship 20% of the global oil. So that is, around 25 million barrels per day. Now that Strait of Hormuz got choked in the last 1.5 months, and right now the oil is blocked. What we have seen, Saudi Arabia is also one of the oil producing countries. They started to diversify in the last few weeks, transporting their oil via the east-west pipe, which goes towards the Yanbu terminal, which is at the Jeddah side. If you see the Red Sea in the map, you will see Yanbu terminal, which is on the Red Sea side, where that has been closed for almost 1.5-2 years because of the Hamas and the Israel conflict, which started earlier in 2024. Red Sea passage has been affected for more than a year, and that's why ships now route via Cape of Good Hope, which is South Africa. And that's why we see a lot of delays in the past 1.5-2 years. All of our products, whether it's business, whether it's consumables, personal, everything is getting affected. Everything comes in containers, so that's how the ships are coming so late. Now, this Strait of Hormuz has been choked, and Saudi Arabia started transporting this oil via Yanbu terminal, which is just, able to ship only 5 to 7 million barrels per day. Hormuz used to ship 20 to 25 million barrels per day. So just imagine the capacity got choked and it dropped down to almost 5 million barrels per day. So that's why the countries, the economies, especially Asia, West Asia, I would say Southeast Asia, and Europe is really under that kind of pressure in the last 1.5-2 months. So we need to understand the impact, how it is going to be affecting, on our career growth, the company's growth, its revenue, its profits. On the other end, you have Qatar, which is a major player who exports 1/5 of its LNG supplies to again Asia as well as Europe. US is number one, and then you have also Qatar as a number two. They have a big gas plant in Ras Laffan in Doha, and they export. They produce 77 million tons per annum, and that is expected to grow by almost 127 to 130 million tons by 2027. So imagine Qatar has been really badly affected by the recent strikes by Iran on its Ras Laffan gas plants, and we have seen other oil refineries in Kuwait, in UAE, Bahrain. So unfortunately, because of this, now the infrastructure is being affected, and this will take time to re-establish, open the routes, and we have to wait for the situations to ease in the upcoming months, I would say. Maybe even in years, because Qatar, which is really a big exporter of LNG, is going to take some time, a couple of years, to start re-exporting gas to that strait and reach out to Asia and Europe. So basically you have Southeast Asian countries like Korea, China, Japan, India who are affected because they rely heavily on Qatar for this supply. Europe, a decade back, especially Germany, was not so dependent on Qatar. Even Qatar offered them, a good price for LNG, but they refused. Right now, yes, the other countries in Europe, they're relying on Qatar for the natural gas. So this really impacts, as I mentioned yesterday, this really impacts our day-to-day lives. We cannot get hold of cooking gas in India. I think all of us were struggling in the last 1 month, and there was a lot of panic buying, and government ensured, they are having a lot of supplies, and that's correct because Iran and India have been really diplomatic, and they have very old good relationships in the past, and Iran has really permitted many of the Indian oil tankers to pass, as well as Chinese. So this is a very good trend for us, India being in a sweet spot, and we are able to bring in a lot of crude oil as well as gas. So it's something which we have to be really thankful to the current Indian government. And yes, things should be easing up now because of this recent news in the last few hours which got developed, that there's a ceasefire agreed, hopefully, between the US and Iran. So we'll have to wait for more positive outcomes in the next few days and weeks. So that's one thing. Second, leave aside the oil war conflict which came unanticipated. You have AI, as I also mentioned. AI is still now taking people's jobs. Companies, especially tech companies, Meta, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, they are trying to cut down the workforce and trying to spend billions of dollars on the data infrastructure. They need data centers. India is also becoming one of the biggest hubs for data centers. So they need AI coding engineers, analytics team, and every AI agents, where they could replace human beings. Now this is something very alarming also, where people in the middle level are also being affected, as well as senior employees. We heard a lot of even Indian-based company TCS are also laying off the senior level, which is quite surprising. But yes, it's quite unfortunate that people, as I mentioned, we all know we have to develop our own skills by learning this AI, and we have to apply it in our day-to-day jobs. So this is also one of the main factors which is really impacting jobs worldwide. So this year, so far we have just finished one quarter, and now we are just entering the second quarter. So we have to see how the Q2 performs over the next few months, and I think this will eventually slow down the growth in Q2, and we might see maybe a momentum. We hopefully, I'm being quite optimistic, but yes, we might see some momentum developing in the third quarter of this year. But yes, again, it depends on the entire geopolitical crisis, how the governments keep up their word, how countries are going to come back and start developing trade relations with each other. So on this context, AI is also one of the factors which everybody needs to understand, focus, try to learn from market online tools and see where you could try to deploy in your day-to-day life. So this is one of the today's a short video which I wanted to brief all of you. You have an oil war and AI crisis, and also if you are still not sure if you are heading into recession. It's quite too early to comment on this, but yes, as you have seen, the oil prices also went high. It touched more than $100 per barrel. It went to 110, 120. So that's how now oil is really affecting a lot of businesses, whether you talk about the steamship vessel companies, you talk about the airlines. Everybody travels around the world and everybody buys oil, is used in different forms, in business purposes, in household consumption. So it's affecting every business. And then you have AI is also one of the tech driven concepts which is really also impacting jobs. So let's hope we overcome this in the next few months. And also it's a message to everybody that whoever wants to get benefited from this AI should learn and should grow further. If not, I think you'll be left behind. But this is a real truth which is happening across the world. Yes, a decade back we saw a lot of tech companies like Google and Amazon. They started initiating this way back, especially even Meta, which is earlier called Facebook, had deployed AI models. I mean, for everything. Today you are ordering a lot of stuff in Amazon. It's all AI based techniques. How the model, the algorithm senses this customer is purchasing which product and how many times that person has viewed and what's in his mind. So there are promotions, there are offers, everything is being tempted, or everything is driving the customer to such an extent that we are really tempted by the things what we are seeing around in this digital world. So it's really commendable how things have changed from the generations what we have seen, and this is really going to take us somewhere in the near future. So let's hope for the best. And I think you guys also, if you have any comments, please feel free to share your thoughts in my YouTube channel. I'm reachable Uwais Mohajir at M1M Wala. I also am reachable at Instagram by my name M1M Bonito, and also I'm available by Uwais Mohajir in LinkedIn. So your comments, your thoughts, your recommendations, suggestions, whatever you feel, what I can discuss, which topic can I bring, I'm really happy. It is just I need to give my understanding and my experience, how we have worked with people around us, with different cultures, with different companies. So it's really good thing for all of us. So I'll see you tomorrow again. Stay